It's 10 June 2020, and I'm joined by Mr. Tinashe Jonas from Ideal Zimbabwe. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. That way we are surviving COVID-19.
Right, that is exactly what we want to talk about. Tendai Biti has written a letter to the World Bank in his personal capacity and in his capacity as a former finance minister of Zimbabwe. And he has asked them not to release funds to the Zimbabwe government directly, among other things. Have you seen this letter?
I've seen it, yes. I've read it.
Okay, so what are your opinions on this letter?
The first thing is that I want to honor Mr. Tendai Biti for his contribution to the Ideal Zimbabwe that he wants, and for his contribution to Zimbabwean politics and for his fight for democracy. I respect him, and he earns my respect. And then secondly, being a former finance minister, I want to believe that Mr. Tendai Biti wants Zimbabwe to prosper, wants ordinary Zimbabweans, supporters of MDC, supporters of ZANU-PF, supporters of Ideal Zimbabwe, any other party, to live well, not to escape the poverty that they are currently in. But I'm then worried because by writing, number one, by writing such a letter to stop funding to the government of Zimbabwe, he is not punishing the ZANU-PF elite. He is forgetting that he's punishing the ordinary Zimbabweans who he wants to vote for MDC alliance into power, whom he loves so much. The second important issue here is, in his letter, he indicated that he would only agree the money to be disbursed on the condition that it goes to a non-profit organization that he would want to act as a facilitator. This comes very badly because it shows that he is more concerned about being the finance minister, the part of finance minister to the government. He is worried in the control of funds. He is not worried in the day-to-day struggles of the Zimbabwean ordinary people.
Okay, he raised a number of issues.
Yeah.
Firstly, he raised the issue of corruption in the way the Mnangagwa government has been handling the COVID funds.
Yeah.
Is this true? Is Mnangagwa abusing the funds for coronavirus?
Okay, the issue of corruption is a real problem in our country. But now, I want to say corruption doesn't have a membership card. We can't say there's 2 million missing in MDC Alliance. There's corruption in MDC Alliance. There's corruption in ZANU-PF. There's corruption everywhere. Corruption is a national problem. We need to confront it together as a country. But you can't say if your brother is eating faster than you, then you stop having the food, the lunch at all. You can't ban lunch, you can't ban dinner, because whenever you are sharing food with your brother, he eats faster than you. What you do is that we need to confront the corruption internally. I mean, that's a valid point, but stopping the funds is scorched earth policy. You don't burn the house because there's a snake.
Okay, so what would you say to Tendai Biti at the moment as an approach? If he's seeing corruption, if he's seeing funds being abused, if he's seeing human rights violations, is this not a cry for help? What should he do?
Okay. Remember, I'm pushing a movement called the hashtag Zimamoto, hashtag Klicha Umlilo, hashtag Extinguish the Fire. What we need as Zimbabweans is that we need to depolarize to the toxic politics we are currently engaging in. The Kunira Jecha ideology is what is currently happening. We want to make sure that ED fails and then we take over power. That is, look at the countries like like US. They try to outsmart each other, but making sure that the country is working. Let's make our country work. Let's make our supporters. Let's make Zimbabweans live well, escape poverty. As leaders, let's help the country to work, to be functioning, and then have a political contestation. Currently in Zimbabwe, we have got a political blood fight. What we need is a political contestation, not a blood fight. His approach is totally wrong. And wherever he is, Mr. Honorable Biti, I'm sure is regretting that approach, because it's not going to hit. It's not going to hit ED. It's not going to hit ZANU-PF leaders. This is going to hit ordinary Zimbabweans. And I'm sure Mr. Tendai Biti loves his ordinary Zimbabweans. So the approach is totally wrong and uncalled for.
Right, Mr. Tinashe Jonas, I'm clearly hearing you. You are saying that, of course, there's corruption in Zimbabwe. Of course, there's stealing of COVID funds. But there needs to be a different approach. But then what is that approach? Who is going to make people stop doing this polarization? The people that are stealing and the people that are going to international bodies to say, don't send money. Who is going to come in between?
Okay. What is needed now is that we need to work together, ruling party and opposition, exposing, insulting, fighting, as the popular saying that when two bulls are fighting, the grass suffers. The fight between us leaders is the evidence is the suffering of people who can't access money in banks. The evidence is people who can't afford meals. The evidence is people who can't get jobs. It's always ordinary people that we purport to lead that are suffering. So we must stop fighting and engage and contest in smart politics. We need the 5G politics. We don't want stone age politics that when a snake is in the house, you burn the house. So we need to engage as leaders. We need to socialize as leaders. Let's stop the gesture. Let's fight corruption together. Corruption needs a multi-faceted approach. It needs a holistic approach. So corruption is not supposed to be fought by MDC alone, Alliance, or ZANU-PF alone. Corruption is a cancer. It's a national cancer and a threat to national security.
Okay, I understand that this is a very difficult subject because ZANU-PF that we're dealing with is not easy to deal with. Last week, Tendai Biti was in jail. Do you think he would understand what you're saying after being thrown into jail just for walking to Harvest House?
We need to reject abductions. We need to do original or fake abductions. We need to reject torture. We need to reject arbitrary arrests. We need to sanitize our politics. Of course, they say politics is a dirty game. But are we a generation that is going to cry, that is going to complain, that is going to play victim? Are we a generation of losers? We should rise above our political differences and sanitize our politics. It's a high time that as leaders, we stop what the bad we did yesterday, the bad we did this morning, this afternoon, and hold hands, hug each other. It's a high time now. Zimbabwe is only going to be built by us Zimbabweans. Forget about the international community. Let's forget about EU. Let's forget about any other foreign body, SADC or EU. Zimbabwe is for Zimbabweans. So if we open windows for foreign interference, for foreign sympathy, the losers is us as Zimbabweans. We must say enough is enough, and let's be each other skipper. Let's keep it. Let's foster peace, unity, and engagement. This is the time.
Okay, is Mnangagwa making it possible for the opposition to come to him and talk? Are they not reacting to the lack of space on the ground?
Thank you. Let me talk on record as a witness to myself, and I can say I'm a state witness. You know how I was fighting ZANU-PF, I was doing everything, and you know I apologized a few weeks ago, and I was unconditionally forgiven. We need to take out the ego. Our politics is full of ego, is full of arrogance, is full of self-agendas packaged as a national interest. When it's a high time Mnangagwa or ED is ready to forgive opposition leaders, is ready to work with people. I was forgiven, and I want my fellow brothers in opposition to say, let's stop political fights. Let's do political engagements. Let's do smart politics. It's time to build Zimbabwe. Honorable Biti to go to prison is a waste of time. He has got a lot to play in the administration of Zimbabwe. He has got experience. He has got passion. He has got patriotism. We want it to better Zimbabwe.
Okay, Nelson Chamisa has been asking to meet Idi Mnangagwa since January, but yes. Mnangagwa has been refusing to meet him.
Yes.
Is this not the kind of situation that is causing opposition leaders to run to foreign embassies, to run to foreign organizations, to run to the World Bank for sanctions?
Okay. The hashtag Zimamoto is a movement to make sure that the Zimbabwean issues are dealt with the Zimbabweans. I can guarantee that I'm very, very interested in pushing for the meeting of leaders, including ED and the Nelson Chamisa, to sit on the table, have dinner. It's a high time we should socialize as leaders without even politics. When they meet, there must be no conditions. We don't want conditions. We don't want conditions from Comrade ED, conditions from leader Chamisa. They must meet on no conditions because the agenda must be Zimbabwe. So the conditions from either camps are the hindrance to the meeting that we want, and it mustn't be ED meeting narrow. It must be leaders. We don't want better leaders or special conditions. Zimbabweans must be humble before building the country. We must all be equal before Zimbabwe. So we don't want ego in our politics. We don't want arrogance. So conditions must be taken away so that we meet on the agenda of national interest and national security.
Right, Mr. Tinashe Jonas, you said Mr. Tendai Biti's approach was incorrect to ask for the World Bank not to release funds to the government because the common people will suffer. You said corruption is real, and you said politicians, the leaders, need to stop this politics of fighting, which is Stone Age politics. They must go to 5G politics. What else do you want to say before we close?
I want to say we are organizing through the movement a dinner. We are just monitoring the situation in Zimbabwe. We want a dinner that all politicians, quite a number are agreeing to come to the dinner. We want to organize a dinner, in Sheraton Hotel, that our leaders must be seen taking photos, hugging each other, and the photo shoot session. We want, whether next time there will be a golf tournament or whatever, we want brotherhood. We want family wood. This thing, hatred is too much. And out of hate, we will never build Zimbabwe. We want, and it's not about fighting for the position of the presidency, fighting for the position of being a minister. We want to build Zimbabwe in any capacity. Even if I'm an ordinary Zimbabwean, I've got a duty to build my country. So Zimbabweans, let's work hand in hand. Let's work together. We want our church leaders, we want our civic community, we want our business people, we want ordinary Zimbabweans, opposition, ruling party. Let's come together. Let's have dinners. Let's work together. We want even demonstrations happening in the country. That includes the soldiers, the police, the opposition, the ruling party. We should demonstrate against the underdevelopment. Let's unite. Let's have peaceful demonstrations that bring us together as a country. Let's not fight one another. If we do demonstrations, let's do demonstrations against hatred, against the disunity. Let's work for the country. Let's not focus much on our political parties. Let's focus on Zimbabwe.
Right, Mr. Tinashe Jonas from Ideal Zimbabwe, thank you very much for joining me again today. I'll have you again back very, very soon. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the platform.